maybe a good one for people to go back and watch too, even as we dive into the business activity tracker. So yeah, Michelle's sick. I have an ice pack on my neck, but Nina's somewhere. But we're just gonna keep going and keep rolling. And I hope you're all having a good week so far on this beautiful Monday. So tonight we are going to dive into the Success Club System Tracker, formerly known as the Business Activity Tracker. So if you do not have it pulled up, make sure you have one printed out or pulled up on your computer or your phone. And basically what we're going to do is kind of take a deep dive into this, because just like in life, you can check all the boxes, but you may not feel fulfilled. Just with this business activity tracker, you can check all the boxes, but are you actually putting your full effort into each of these boxes? And are you getting everything out of these boxes that you can? Are you really growing your business, or are you just checking off boxes? And are you doing the right things in those? And so many ands. Are you doing all of the boxes? Because I can 100% tell you that if you're only checking off half of them and wondering why your business isn't growing, that's why. And you have to do all of the boxes every day. And I don't say that to be mean. I say that to show you and tell you this is how you grow a business, is to do things consistently every single day. Of course you have your off days, of course your scheduled off days, and you're present with your family. I never want this to replace that. But when you do this in an hour or two a day, or in power pockets, or in chunks, whatever you want to call them, your business will grow when you do these things consistently. And I know you may see Nina or Michelle or myself now as full-time coaches. One, I don't work full-time, probably typical hours, less than, compared to when I worked in corporate. And two, we all started with other jobs. Nina and Michelle both started as teachers. I started working in the corporate field as a food scientist. So I would go to work 7 to 5. I would come home at 5:30. Heck, it's so stiff. Do my workout. This was before I knew of a miracle morning. So now totally take advantage of the miracle morning. I wish I knew of that concept when I started. So I would do my workout. I would work on my MBA from 7 to 9 at night. And then I would do this business activity tracker from 9 to 10, 9 to 11, 9 to whenever I finished it, to be honest. And I would not let myself go to bed until every single one of these were checked. Now, this system is new, so it looked a little bit different back then, but it's still the same activities. And I just tell you that because, yes, I had a busy schedule. Yes, we all have life. But when you do these things consistently, it will consistently grow your business, even in a short amount of time. So I just saw Nina jump on. I can start, and then Nina's gonna we're gonna tag team this and do it together, and then we can go through some examples, some questions, but I really just want to go over what you're doing in each of these categories and deep dive into each one of them with you. So the very first thing at the very top, and if you don't have this, it's in the back office, search Success Club System or a daily business activity tracker. It will come up. But you need to either print these or have it as a digital copy every single week. So you can see the week, and then at the very top you have NWC, which is National Wake Up Call, which was this morning. Now, if you can't get on live, I didn't listen live this morning, but I listened to the replay. And then team call, which we're on one of those right now. So you always have those two things for the week, and then always write your why. And I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this because we had a whole call on it, but remember a why that really makes you want to get out of bed in the morning and not just something fluffy, and really spend time writing that out in detail every single week. You may think you're in a hurry and you write my family or whatever. I want you to write as small as you can in that tiny little box and write out your whole why every single week, because the more you remind yourself of it, the more it's going to come true. And then your target market. So again, don't just write woman. Don't just write anyone who wants help. Really write who do you want to help. And this, I think this is really, it doesn't need to be woman, age range 25 to 35. I think Keisha on our team call last week said it really well of who are you most excited to help? So who is that person that you are most excited to help, and write that in your target market. And then we go on to box number 1, which this one's just obvious. Let's see. Yes, how Keisha said it. I loved it. So number 1, be proof the products work. If you're not doing this, you're not going to grow your business either. Now, that doesn't mean you have to have some amazing transformation. It can be a mental transformation, but you need to be showing that the products work. So doing your daily workout and doing your daily shake. I'm not even going to take any more time than is needed on that, because that one's pretty obvious. And then we go into number 2, and this is really like how you're building your business with every single one of these boxes being checked. So initiate connections and add followers. Now, this tracker is broken down by time. So it has 20 minutes. I like that it's broken down by time because you can set a timer and just knock it out and do it. But I also want you to have a minimum number for yourself in there of how many new connections and how many new or adding new people that you want, because I don't care if you do it for 20 minutes, but if you have, someone could do it for 20 minutes and someone could add 1 person, or someone could do it for 20 minutes and add 15 people. That's going to be a big difference in what your business is doing. So I really recommend that number to be at least 10. Now that's up to you. If you want to do 20, do 20. If you want to do 5, do 5. I would say definitely no less than 5 new conversations a day. So now what does that actually mean? So that to me is not just hitting friend requests. That is not just hitting add as a follow or follow someone. Now you can do that in that time too, and definitely be adding, following new people on Instagram. Maybe they'll follow you back. But when I say initiate connections, I keep saying conversations because that's what I call them. But for me, initiating a connection is actually starting a conversation with someone I've never started a conversation with before. That's how I'm personally tracking it. Nina and Michelle may do a little differently. But because to me, going back and checking in on how someone's doing that I've talked to before, that's a follow-up. I want to constantly be having new conversations going with brand new people. So Emily, how do you find these people? Good question. So I am mainly using Instagram, and I'm using hashtags and other accounts and going to their followers. So for hashtags, for example, I use a lot of wedding stuff. So maybe I'm using wedding planning, or maybe you can use boy mom or boy mama 4 or 4-year-old if you have a 4-year-old. Like, I'm just trying to give you examples here. But I'm going to those and I'll probably like a couple of their photos. I may comment on a couple. I'm really engaging with them. And then I send them a message. And I really try not to have like some scripted message. If they have an Instagram story, I will just reply to one of their stories. That's like the easiest way. But if they don't, then I'll just send them a message. And maybe if it's someone who just got their wedding dresses, I'll say, hey, I saw you just got your wedding dress too. I just got mine recently. When's your wedding? I love talking to other brides on there. Like, that stuff is so fun to me. So find someone you really want to be friends with in real life and talk to that person. Is everyone following me so far? I'm just seeing who's actually paying attention. Okay, so I would say do a minimum of 10 of those. And that is, again, starting a brand new conversation with someone you've never talked to before. And it has nothing to do with Beachbody. I do not say anything about Beachbody in this conversation. It's really just getting to know that person. And you're finding that person based off of what you're writing in your target market. So another example of that, this call might go a little over 6:30, guys. But I want you to have good information on this. Another way I do that is if I go to I attract a lot of people who are already into fitness because that's my story. So I may go to a gym in Denver and follow their page and then see who's interacting on their Instagram page. So never go to another Beachbody coach and try to take who is interacting on their page. That's just unethical. they're following that person for a reason. I'm not talking about Beachbody coaches, but other influencers. So if you have like someone that writes a mom blog that you like to follow, or a teacher blog, or whatever it may be, a foodie blog, that could be someone that you're going and finding people to interact with on there. So always starting brand new conversations. An author, yes, exactly. Nina, do you want to take the next one, or do you want me to keep going?
Well, just to kind of chime in on that, so I do exactly what Emily does as far as Instagram goes, but I actually, so on the tracker, it tells you to do time, and Emily does a number, and I do a number as well, but I do a number in each category. So I do a number for connections on stories. So I go through like stories of people that I'm following, and I try to do 20 different connections through stories. So that's where it's like I'm going through their stories and I'm sending them a message, like reply to their story or whatever. And I find that if you reply to people's stories or get in a conversation through stories, then people see that message even if they're not following you or whatever. Like that message comes up no matter what. It doesn't go in others. So that's kind of cool. But then I also do the new connections, like she's talking about, through hashtags and influencer accounts. But I actually still do it on Facebook too. So I think that like a lot of newer coaches, and maybe a lot of you on the call, but it seems like a lot of coaches in my downline, I don't want to speak for everyone, but a lot of them are still more comfortable on Facebook. And a lot of people still have a market on Facebook. So you can do the same exact thing that Emily is talking about on Facebook. You just go to like a gym account on Facebook and do the same thing. Look at their last post, see who liked their last post. And then maybe you're going to friend request them, and you can't count the friend request as a connection. But if you do this on a daily basis, you're going to get people accepting your friend request, and then you introduce yourself, and that's a connection. So it's almost like connections are a two-step process. There's the follow or friend, and that's the first step. And then after that comes the actual connection. But I don't count it as a connection until I have a conversation. And I try to have a minimum of 25 new conversations every single day. And that's just like the amount of people that you need to be talking to when you're working a cold market. Now, if these are people that you already know, you can go right into a conversation with them. But there's this whole like, it's like that dating process again. You need to, follow them. You need to like their stuff. And it takes a little while to get into that conversation. But I don't call it a connection until it's a conversation. It's the same thing. What is the next one, Emily? And I'll address it. I'm driving, so I obviously don't have it in front of me.
And I definitely want to move on from that one, but I don't like, if you try to start a conversation and they don't answer, that doesn't matter. Like, I still count that as I try to start a conversation. That's out of your control. So just know that also. The next one is do a social media post that showcases the benefits of your healthy lifestyle or has a call to action.
Okay, awesome. So what I want everybody to do before we talk about this is I want you to go to your primary social media platform. So if you primarily use Facebook, go to your Facebook page and look at your own profile. And I want you to look at your last 3 posts. If you use Instagram, look at your own Instagram profile. And I want you to look at your last 3 posts there. And I want you to tell me if one of those posts had a call to action. I want you to tell me if one of those posts was adding value. I want you to tell me if one was educating or entertaining. Like, look at the last 3 posts and what are you asking for? What are you teaching? Or what value are you adding through those last 3 posts? And then I want, remember, like, this is on this call because post, I would love to unmute yourself and just share, like, wow, that was an eye-opener. Like, I've got 3 sweaty selfies on there, or I've got my dinner, I've got my shake, and I've got a sweaty selfie. And, like, share if you're making that connection that, like, yeah, I'm posting, but my posts aren't really doing anything. Or share, like, yeah, I've got 1 call to action. I've got one where I'm teaching, sharing a recipe. And I've got one where I'm like teaching from for my personal development. So just look at your last 3 posts and unmute yourself, chime in, and share what value or what call to actions they have. And just while you guys are looking real quick, I mean, Michelle, Emily, and I have been in the business for a while, and all 3 of us, I would say, are successful in the business. We've been able to do it and not only full-time, but earn a full-time income with it. And the 3 of us are actually doing this for each other. We're doing a social media scan for each other to make sure we have enough call to actions and we're adding enough value. So anyone want to share what they're seeing? And I can't see all of you because I only get 4 of you on the screen and a lot of you have your cameras off. So just unmute yourself and start talking and I'll shut up.
So I usually try to put a question at all the end of my post. I don't know if that's the best thing to do, but 2 out of 3 of my last post. So I posted about after the Shaunathon and said, this program changed my life 20 minutes at a time. Are you ready? And then another one I have is of my health improving, and I said, progress seems to take forever, but how much healthier could you be in a year? So I'd say 3.
First, thank you so much for sharing and being the first to share. That's awesome. I really appreciate that. Second, yes, you have amazing posts and call to actions. So one of the questions is too, and are you doing at least 1 post a day? My recommendation for you is to put that call to action up top, because a lot of times when people are scrolling through, they see the picture and they read the first 1 or 2 sentences and then they just, keep scrolling. So put that call to action as the first thing that you have on your post and then share the rest of it. And sometimes even repeat that call to action on the bottom, but try to give it up front right away. But awesome. And I love your post, so thank you. Anyone else want to share what they're seeing in their posts? You don't have posts, Tate. I'm sorry. Tate's ready to share his posts.
I wondered who said that. I was like, that sounded like
that's my child.
Tate should have Instagram.
Yeah, he'd have a good social media. He'll be a Beachbody coach. I don't know if the girls will, but Tate will.
Yeah. So to just add to that, it is really important to have these posts with our transformations and call to actions, but I think it's equally important to just have posts as a human. To show your life, to show your family, to show whatever you want to show, but you need to be more than just Beachbody. Honestly, if I go to someone's page and it's just all call to actions and all Beachbody and all do this, I'm not going to want to join them. I want to see someone who's a real human being, who's showing other life things. So I know it's oh, well, what do I do then? Do whatever feels right to you. There's no hard right or wrong, but I try to balance it of yes, I probably need more call to actions, to be honest. I'm sure Nina and Michelle are going to tell me that on our mastermind call this week. I know I need more, so I need to work on that personally too. We're always growing and learning in the business, but I also think it's important to show other parts of your life or tie that into your post, obviously, of call to action with your family and why this is so important to you. So next is update Instagram or Facebook story throughout the day. Now this is really where you can show your personality and really go more behind the scenes. So your Instagram or Facebook feed is more kind of making sure you have good lighting, making sure it's presentable, making it look a little more professional. Don't take dark blurry photos, make sure it looks nice, you have a well thought out caption. Stories is I just literally posted a story of this video and me being I'm wasting my neck, look at me. Just weird crap. Or I'm constantly lip singing and I have a horrible singing voice, but show people the weird parts of you, your personality. I should just start to say, show people the weird side of you, because everyone has a weird side, and really show, the behind the scenes. People love the behind the scenes. Think of, a celebrity that you follow, wouldn't you love to see like them getting ready, or like not just that final product of what they look like on the red carpet, but of like what happened to get to that point? That's kind of how I think of our stories. So just ideas that the tracker has is your daily life, your workout clips, your products without showing the name, I recommend, a healthy meal, an invitation or call to action, and recognition and shout out. And then Keisha also made a point of like something that's going to add value. So maybe it's a quote, maybe it's a podcast. I actually will take little screenshots of my book that I'm reading and like square off of a quote that I really like. And my people, like my tribe, will comment back. And even coaches who are already on my team, like message me and they're like, yes, to this quote. And that's like my people, you know, like really just whenever you see something that sparks fire in you, that's going to spark fire in your person as well. So that's kind of just the behind the scenes. It's how they get to know you. And then it has little check marks for each of those boxes. So Nina, next is respond to all new likes, comments, reviews.
So this is the easiest way to invite. You just, if you're consistently making your posts, then people have something to like and comment on. So whenever I do a call to action like Brittany shared, I go to everybody that liked my post and I assume that they liked it because they're interested. And it'll say something along the lines of, thanks so much for the support on my post, like make a little personal connection with them. And then I ask them if they want more information. And I don't say, do you want to join my group? Because I feel like that's a little bit too pushy, but I think it's safer to say like, hey, would you like some more information? Because that gives them, they're not tied into it and they're not committing. So right there, if you're posting every single day, you've always got people to invite to from your likes and your posts and your views of your stories. But this is where the problem comes in, and this is probably what all of you guys are thinking, like, oh, well, it's the same people liking and commenting all the time. And a lot of the times, like I know for me, it's my current challengers and my coaches that are liking and commenting. What?
Can I turn on, please?
No. Okay, go take a shower, please. Yes. So a lot of the times it's the same people liking and commenting. So if they're not challengers and if they're not coaches, then you still can build a relationship with them, but you can't continue to invite them every single day that they like it. But they're people that just, they're watching you and they're not ready yet. But that's where like the inviting part comes. And I think we're going to talk about that. Like if you continue to invite the same person, like if Michelle likes my post every day and I decide to invite her every week, I can't continue to count that as a new invite. Like the first time I invite Michelle, that's the only time I count her as an invite. And then it's a follow-up. I continue to follow up with her. And I think that's where the biggest struggle comes in when coaches are like, but I'm inviting people every day. But if you're inviting the same people every day, then that's where you're not really making progress, like, or getting that momentum going. Like I can invite Michelle every single day and she can tell me no every single day. And then I can be like, oh, well, I'm inviting people. They're just not working. Like you can't do that. So I think that's all with the likes and comments. Like reach out to them. It's either going to be an invite or it's going to be a relationship building. And say like Emily said, make sure you're posting about your family or whatever. Like I was in Las Vegas for the last 5 days and I had some posts that like I try to tie everything into Beachbody. That's the way I post, like because my life is coaching. So I can easily tie everything into that. But sometimes if I post something that has absolutely nothing to do with Beachbody and I don't know how to even tie it into Beachbody, I just use it as an opportunity to connect with people. And it's just like, hey, you know, I hope you had, like today, reaching out. Like, hey, you know, thanks for the support on cheering Ella on in her soccer tournament. And I explain how her soccer tournament went. And then I just say, you know, can you believe March is a couple days away? Like, how has the new year been for you? And I just get into a conversation. I talk to them like they're human. And I use social media to have conversations. Anything else to add to that, Emily? No? Okay.
No, you froze on me for a while. So
Oh, sorry.
No, it's my computer. It's
okay.
No, that was it. And And even in that time, say it doesn't take you 25 minutes, because honestly, I don't get a ton of comments on my stuff. And I will go keep engaging with other people during that time then. So say you like took the whole time up for your new connections, I use that time to just go engage. So I have this dream list of coaches of like, I really want them to be a coach on my team. Maybe they already said no, maybe I haven't asked them yet. I'll just go engage with their stuff. I was telling Bridget this the other day of like, because she's like, the same people keep liking my stuff. And I was like, yeah, mine too. That that just happens unless we are going out engaging with other people. Like, we can't sit here and be like, no one's engaging with me if we're not going out and engaging with other people too. Instagram wants you to be engaging with people, to comment on their posts. We just expect all these people to come comment on our posts, but are we taking the blocked out time each day to go be that person to interact on other people's social media, to then maybe they'll come back and give a comment on ours? I've just really started this because this was not on the old business activity tracker. So that was not a habit of mine to like go out and engage. It kind of was. I just didn't do it enough, I guess. And I've really been focusing on that this week, and I've already noticed a difference and more comments on my stuff, connecting with more people. So next is invite blank people. So put your number in there of how many you want for your minimum a day to join a challenge group or learn about coaching. So again, you need to have a minimum number here. They even have a minimum number on here, at least 5. That's what they've pulled hundreds and hundreds of successful coaches, part-time coaches, to see how many invites they're doing a day, and everyone was doing over 5, or at least 5 or more. So that, again, you can do it for 15 minutes, but if you only get 1, then you're not going to grow your business. So have that minimum number in there for yourself. And Michelle just gave a really good example in the thread of what that invite could look like. So if you can't see it, she said, "Hey, I hope you had a nice weekend. Thank you for the love on my post last night. I love connecting and working with other women to work towards our health and wellness goals and helping others do the same. I'm hosting a coach info session this weekend and would love to include you. Would I be able to add you to learn more?" There's an example of an invite. You guys heard the example from Keisha on last week's team call, that there is a recording if you didn't hear it, but she voice memos her invites and says like, "Hey, I'd love for you to be a part of our boot camp." I can't remember exactly what she says, but keeps it short, sweet, and simple. Michelle meant this week, not this weekend. It's Thursday. We have a coach open house, or a coach info session. But Keisha will voice memo them and be like, "Hey girl, like, I would love it," with her like squeaky, squealy little voice that she's so excited. And she's like, "I would love for you to be a part of this tribe, that accountability tribe," or whatever she calls hers. There's all different ways to invite. There's no right or wrong. There's no, like, it doesn't need to be some script. You just say what you want to say. Like, I say that we seem to have a lot in common. If I've been talking to them for a little, it seems like we share a lot of the same values of health, wellness, and whatever we share values in. I would love to have you be a part of our virtual gym. Would you like to learn? Would you like more information? Amy says, "I love voice memos, and it led to a new customer hearing my memo, signing up in the same afternoon." That's amazing. Like, I think that just goes to show you never know what can happen. Like, we're at the end of February, guys, but you can still hit Success Club. If you're at 0 right now, you can absolutely still hit Success Club. By the end of the month, you never know when you're going to find the person that's ready right now who needs your help. So inviting, I feel like that could be a whole call in itself, but do you have anything to add to that?
But, well, just to add, I think everybody's intimidated by inviting, and one of the great things that happens when you do a voice memo is that you talk to them like they're a normal person. So you can't copy and paste your voice memo that you're talking into your phone. And when you send out these copy and paste scripts to people, like, it's, I don't know, it's not personalized, and it's just kind of like whatever. Or when you get in your own head and it's like, oh, what do I say? And then you end up saying so much stuff. And that's why I think the voice memo is so great, because you're talking to them like they are a person. Now, like, during my power hour, I just grind, and I love typing, and I write my new messages out, but I don't use a copy paste message. Every day, like, I think of a new message on the fly. and I'll tweak it for every little message. I make sure I use their name. But I think like with inviting, make sure that you make a connection that is a person on the other side of that message, and don't overthink it. Don't be intimidated by it. Don't be scared about it. Don't be salesy about it. Talk to them like they're your friend. Like if you're talking to people that you want to work with, just like, I would never say, hey girl, want to join me? Because I don't think I've ever addressed any person in my life as hey girl. Like, so there's these hey girl messages you can copy and paste, but that's like awkward for me, right? So I'm not going to do that. But talk to them like you were meeting somebody at the coffee shop and you're asking them to go to work out at the gym with you. So that's my big thing with that. Don't overthink it. Just talk to them like they're your friend.
And inviting should be exciting. Like you literally have the opportunity and the potential to change this person's life. Jamie Fitzpatrick said it on a call once. His invite is something like, I know this is going to change your life. So like financially, physically, mentally, emotionally, like, are you ready to get started? Like be that confident in what we have to offer, because remember the call a couple weeks ago about the story of the boy in freshman who went to graduate, be a senior, and like basically thanked his best friend for inviting him to walk home that day. Because he was going to commit suicide that night. You go back, there's a story I did. I'm not going to repeat the whole thing, but it was an amazing story. You have the ability to change someone's life in way more ways than you even know. You need to believe it. You need the confidence. And that's where I don't want to go too far off track, but you can do all the invites in the world. And if you don't believe in it, and if you don't believe in yourself, then that's going to convey that energy is going to come out. Like, we are all human beings with energy and all this woo-woo stuff that I've been getting into, but like people can feel your energy on the other side of the text even, or like through their Instagram stories. And if you don't believe in it and have that confidence, you need to work on that while you do all this. Not first, because you need to be doing all this, but you need to work on that as well. So lastly, is follow up with people you've invited. So I do this in two different ways. I have kind of two check marks of follow-ups I need to do. I do follow-ups with the people I'm currently talking to who are currently interested. So like say I invited someone and they said they're interested, but 2 days went by and I haven't heard from them. I just do a friendly reach out because they probably opened the message and forgot about it. So I'll be like, hey, like I didn't get your email. Are you still interested? Or maybe they're picking their flavor at this point and it's been 2 or 3 days and they haven't answered. I have all these lists going in Google Street. We can do a whole call on tracking sometime, but I have them in these different stages. And if it's been like 2 or 3 days and I hadn't heard from them and they were interested, I'll reach back out. So that's follow-ups for people I'm currently talking to who are interested. But then I also have follow-ups for people who I talked to 6 months ago and I'm re-inviting. So again, like Nina said, I don't really count that as an invite. Maybe if it's been like a year or something, but I just follow up with people who have said not right now in the past. And I just do that all through Streak as well. I do like Friday follow-ups where I just send out a bunch at once, but I also go back through sometimes and we'll do individual messages as well, following up with those people. So kind of the two different types of follow-ups there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I do the same too. I don't have Streak that I use, although I should. I suck at systems like that. But I have my own system that I use in my calendar. And I do it color-coded. So I write down names, like one color is like links that I set out. One color is like people that have expressed interest. And another color is like check in next month or whatever. And I actually keep I don't know, like transferring them from 1 week to the next week and on my calendar and all of that. And I use Fridays as my big follow-ups. And then I'll also use like the end of my month as a big, big follow-up. So if I'm not at my goals, then I will look back at everybody that has had any interest like in the last 3 months. And I will go back and do like a mass follow-up with them. And to be honest with you, I don't know if I've ever gotten a coach or a customer on my first invite. Some of them have taken years. So it's that follow-up is what is key. I want to say like statistically what Beachbody shares now is it's an average of about 3 months from first invite
it takes about 3 months to get them to actually sign up. So that just shows how important follow-up is, because if you don't follow up with them, then some of their coach will be inviting them. And when they're ready, they'll go with that other coach.
It's happened to me.
Me too.
And I've even heard 6 months to a year, and I've heard it takes 7 to 8 invites or interactions for someone to finally say yes. Yeah. Okay. So on to number 3. Do you have it now, Nina, the tracker, or do you want me to tell you?
No, can you read it to me?
So we're through the power hour section, and now we're on to get people results. So number 3, and in here is contribute to your challenge group, recognize achievement, and respond to questions from customers and coaches. They can like all kind of be lumped together.
Yeah. So my biggest thing that I want to say is if your upline coach is running your challenge group, like that's fine. I think there's so much power in having these bigger challenge groups. But if you're a coach in that challenge group and you have challengers in there, you better be showing up like you are the best challenger ever, and you better be contributing content too. So like share recipes, or don't just like if you're in a challenge group that your coach is running, like it's not, we're a team. We're doing this as a team. It's a team challenge group. So you need to be sharing content, and you're not only a challenger in that group, but you're also a coach in that group. Like if I'm running a challenge group and you just post your sweaty selfie on my post in my challenge group, then it kind of takes away, like you just look like you're another challenger, but you want to be this leader to your challengers that are in there and start building that relationship and showing them what you do so they will become coaches. If you are running your own challenge groups, I think listen to the National Wake Up Call today. Like if it's boring you, and if you're checking into the challenge group and just doing check, I did my sweaty selfie, then all your challengers are doing the same thing too. So make sure like you have that vibe and you're actually interacting and doing all of that. So is that it, Emily, just the challenge group? Oh, you're muted.
Recognize achievement and respond to questions from customers and coaches.
Yeah, and I mean, recognition is huge. Like, and I think a lot of people, we want our challengers to be successful. And when they come in, like their initial goal might be to lose like 15 pounds or whatever. And we've all been on this journey long enough that we know that that doesn't happen overnight. So we need to recognize the small accomplishments. And whether we're doing that in our challenge group or we're doing that one-on-one with our coaching, we want to make sure that we are recognizing all of those small accomplishments so that they keep going and they don't give up on themselves. Because if they get on that scale after week 1 and they've gained, I don't know, like looking at the different Transform 20 transformations, there's not much weight loss. And some people have gained weight, but there's a lot of inches lost. So we need to make sure, like, recognize people in different ways like that. Like, do a recognition for, I showed up every day this week, or I was 80% or above on my nutrition today. Like, you can do shout outs and recognitions in those ways so people can feel successful. And if you're not running your own challenge group, like, feel free to still recognize your people in there, or recognize them one-on-one, or recognize them through your stories. Like, I think that's a huge platform to like benefit you in lots of different ways, is to recognize on your stories to show people that people are having success.
And then the last thing, number 4, last but definitely not least, I think this is the most important, is do personal development. So engage in personal and professional development. And I think it's important to do both. I think it's important to do personal development, which could be like the rah motivation, like you are a badass book, or the slight edge or something like that. And professional business development, which may be a network marketing specific book. If you need a recommendation, Build to Last, I'm reading right now. I read this 45-second presentation. Maybe you're going to read a book on social media or marketing or whatever. I think it's important to do both, but do what you need right now. Like, I kind of hate when everyone jumps to one book at once, which I've been totally guilty of before too, but it's like, what do you need right now? So I just picked up a book yesterday that is all about like meditation, and that's what I need right now. But that may not be what someone else needs. That may not be what Lisa or Carol or Brittany needs. Like, I've spent way too long looking for names there, but you need to do what you need, but that you cannot skip it. I like wish they had that one up at the top of the page, because that goes back again to that belief and the confidence. That's personal development is so huge. Like, I don't even know how else to express how huge it is.
Well, I've been listening a lot to Ed Milet, and I think there's other people that say this too. And it's like, if you're not growing, you're dying. And if you're not growing in this business as we speak, the business is dying. If you're not growing as a person and investing in yourself, you're dying. And I think like we see our kids, and our kids are constantly growing, right? But then there comes this time in our life. Usually it's after college, after we get married, after we have kids, after we're in our jobs. And then it's just kind of like, okay, this is life. And you start to die. And through personal development, through professional development, it gives us that platform that we're forever growing. And I'm a different person in every way possible than I was a year ago. I'm a completely different person than I was 4 years ago. And this is kind of the way I look at personal development. So Ed Milet talks about like your ultimate purpose in life is when you die, you're met by somebody. And this person that you're met when you die is the person that you were supposed to be if you lived to your fullest potential. And the goal is when you die, you see this person and you recognize them, and it's like, oh, that's who I am. And the biggest fear and regret in life is that when you die, you see this person and you don't recognize them at all, because you were down here, and this person that you were supposed to be, that you were born to be, that you were meant to be, you don't even recognize because you stopped growing. So your purpose in life is that you live to your fullest potential. So when you die and you're greeted by your fullest potential, it's like looking yourself in the mirror. And to me, that's what sums up personal development. And my growth is different than Emily's growth. She said that exactly.
I'm going to chime in really quick about personal development, because I think it should be at the top of the list. I think that it should not be at the bottom. But one of the things that I've heard on a national wake up call is that like literally we all have these same tools. Everything that Emily went over, like, and Nina went over, like we all do the same things. We all have the same products. We all have the same tools and resources. What is going to make a difference is the personal development that you do in the person that you are and you are becoming, with this business. So just like Emily said before, with like inviting and connecting, people are going to sense your vibe, if you have any, if you're lacking confidence or belief, or you have fears, they're going to sense that. You're going to come across that way in your messages. So that is going to make or break you with this business. That's how important it is with personal development. And that's enough from me.
Agree. All right, and then at the very bottom, it just has you tracking your weekly business results. So number of new followers, so you can actually see that you're growing your followers, because I hear all the time, well, I ran out of people to invite. That's impossible. Impossible. There is like billions and millions of people out there to invite, but you have to work on all those other steps up top, like engaging and interacting and all that, to get new followers. Number of new challengers, so how many people joined you this week, number of new coaches, and then Success Club points so far for the week and for the month, which is of course important to track as well. Sorry, I just got something. Any questions? So I know we went a little over tonight, but I do feel like it's important to go through it. Does this help to see it all? Was there any like aha moments of different things that you were doing? Like, we want to hear your thoughts on this, any questions you have, just anything, because this is literally like, I just got off a call with one of my new coaches, Kelsey, is like, this is the Bible of building your business. Like, it is literally like, all you have to do is do the actions on here, every single one though, and consistently at least 5 days a week to grow your business. It's not hard. It's not easy, but it's simple. This is so simple. Like, how many of you can say, I can do this? It's simple. It's just being dedicated and doing it.
So I have a question. Can I see a show of hands of how many of you have thought to yourself, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm not successful? How many of you have thought that in this business? Okay, so just about everybody. How many of you after this call have made a connection and it's like, oh, I can make that tweak, or oh, that's something different I could be doing, or I could do that better? How many of you feel that after this call now? Okay, so I hope like that was our whole point of this, because I've said it. Like, I don't know, Michelle's heard it, Emily's heard it. Like, I'm like, what more can I do? I'm doing everything. I've done massive action. I've done this. And I know a lot of it is that I have to be a different person to have the success that I want to have. And I understand that now. But still, if you do everything on this tracker and you do it with fidelity and do it the way we talked about, you will hit Success Club 10 every single month. Like, this is to hit Success Club 10 every single month. And if you make those little tweaks, you'll do it. And then if you want to do, you know, become top coach or become whatever, that's when you have to really, really do the internal work. So any questions from any of you?
Does anyone want to share what you're like? So everyone raised their hand on you can make a tweak. So someone share what was that tweak, or what was the thing that you were like, oh, I can do that.
For me, I find that sometimes I get sick of myself. Like, I just get sick of like posting sweaty selfies and like stuff, and I forget that I'm like a real person with a family and that I'm funny. Like, I forget these things about myself. So then I just need to like reel it back in and be like, yo, be normal. Like, just be your normal, quirky, weird, swearing self. Those are your people. So when I realize I'm getting sick of my own self, then I'm like, oh, I gotta switch this switch.
I love it. I've had those moments too. Like, we've all had them, and remember, we're always getting new people too. So even if we seem repetitive, but I agree with that. Like, it's time. Like, when I'm like, I feel like I'm boring, I switch it up, and it helps. And one of the quotes that I always think of is Julie Boris said, if you're bored in your own life, like, oh, how'd she say it? She's like, to get inspired in your business, go get inspired in life. Something like that. So like, if you're like, oh, I'm lacking motivation, or I'm not inspired, or I don't want to work, go for a walk, go to a play, go to a movie, like, watch the Oscars, do your business, but like, don't procrastinate just because Emily's like, go get inspired, but go get inspired. Like, I need to go watch Lady Gaga's speech from last night, but I'm sure it has something to, I saw quotes from it, and it sure as heck can relate back to business and life. Like, go find things that you love to do and get inspired in your life to get inspired. Thanks for sharing that, Amy, though. I loved it. Does anyone else want to share another example?
Can I share one more thing?
Mm-hmm.
So when I first started coaching, so I've been coaching for like 2+ years, and I felt like it had to be like on constantly. And what I wish I had learned earlier is that when you set your business hours, you do them. And it's still like not perfect, but set your business hours and then you just go do other things. So like, I don't feel guilty when I want to watch a show with my husband or whatever, if I know I've checked the boxes. Could I check them probably in a better, more in-depth way? Yes. But I'm checking them to move my business forward. And I need to, like, that's the thing I tell my new coaches is set your business hours, honor those hours, and walk away.
You have to. I'm a true testament to that. I had a phase in my business where I definitely was all the things, and it didn't work. It doesn't work. Like, you need to have off time, like, to the point where I am taking that way to the extreme and not even watching a TV show, but literally, I went to a conference this weekend, and they're like, take 20 minutes a day to just be still. Don't be scrolling your phone. Don't have any TV or music on in the background. Just sit. Don't fall asleep. Just sit in silence for 20 minutes a day and watch how it will change your life. Like, I'm doing that now, and that's something that's hard for me if you follow me, but like, how cool. Like, so yes, definitely have your business hours and have your business not hours, your off time. Let's take one more example and then we'll get going, since I know it's way past our time.
I think that what you just said about doing your business hours, I mean, I've been really pushing this month, and I don't have anything right now, like any points on the board, but I've struggled this month with being present with my family. And I know you've reminded me a couple times, just be present. It's okay. but I always in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, but I've got to get this done, So a couple of the things that, like what Nina just said, if you aren't growing, you're dying. And I think that holds true. The things that I was worried looking at on my tracker that I struggled with was the recognition and shout out and the recognizing achievement. Like on my stories, because I wasn't doing a recognition and shout out every day. So giving those fresh ideas, I think, is going to help me to make sure I get that in. And on our challenge group, because I'm in yours, Emily, I'm going to have to add some more content because I was just adding my workout. I didn't realize I was supposed to be doing that other thing. So I'll be doing that too.
That's okay. I didn't tell you, but you can definitely add content. I'd like that.
And sometimes it's this weird thing because, like, I don't know, I'm a control freak. So it's like, I want all my things, but the more participation, like if you listen to the wake up call today, she's like, you know what? I don't really spend that much time in my challenge groups because it's everybody, it becomes a community. And that's what we truly want this to be. We want our teams to be a community. So same thing in the team page. If you see some other coach on your team that's inspiring you, go on your team page and recognize them. Like, recognize those small successes. If you have a success partner and they're like, oh, this is the first week that I've showed up every single day and I've got my tracker done, like go out and shout them out in your team page. Like it's okay to do that stuff. It'll make you feel better too. Like I feel great when I recognize people. Like I have a hard time like accepting recognition myself, if that makes sense, but I love recognizing other people.
And you can always recognize, they don't have to be your own customers or coaches. Like recognize, Nina like shouts out me and Michelle of like, these are my business besties all the time. No one knows that we're not on the same team. Like it's totally fine. Okay, the very last thing I want to add to this, I know we're going to hear it and I've heard it and I've said it. But Emily, I did everything on here this week and I still don't have any Success Club points, or I did it all this month. Guess what? Sometimes things take time. So one of the quotes I have written up on my wall, and it takes consistency and it takes people seeing you for more than a couple weeks or even a month or whatever it may be. Consistency plus intensity plus time equals momentum. Now, if you did all of these all month long and you have no points, but you really can tell me and show me, I did all of these, then we'll deep dive and figure out what tweaks can we make, just like we talked about on tonight's call. But you need to show your upline, your mentor, your leaders, your team that you're doing this. This shows us that you care. This shows us that you're trying. This shows us that, listen, I want to grow this business. I did this, like this, and then we can, I was going to say give you other things, but no, it's just more of this. Like this is what grows your business. Nothing shiny, nothing fancy, but this. And it's going to take time and it's going to take consistency, but you can't eat a salad for 1 week and lose 5 pounds, right? Like you can't have one salad and 6 pizzas. Like you can't check one of these boxes and not the rest and expect to get results. So remember that it all comes down to consistency, to doing all of the things, not some of the things, and believing in yourself. Any last thoughts? No? All right, girls. Thank you for taking the time to be on the call. I hope this was helpful to have that little deep dive in. We have 3 days left of the month. That's literally one person a day that you could help or more, and you could be at Success Club. So work hard, keep pushing, keep growing your business, and I hope you all have a good Monday. Tomorrow we have our power hour. So tonight you learned, tomorrow we're going and doing all of it. So get ready. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Hope you feel better, Michelle.
Thank you. I did unmute myself. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, guys.